climate mitigation efforts, internationally, regionally, nationally. To the extent that it's the first time I've seen after presentation, there's no raised hand. So I think we can, another round of requests. Jackson has an idea. So Doctor, let's listen to Jackson's comment and then we'll see how to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. Now that there was no hand, for me, I didn't want to go out being commented about, but I just want to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Kalisti Tindimugaya for the cooperation and partnership that he has encouraged with, especially bringing civil society on board on discussions of water and natural resources. We appreciate it because we can always achieve more, or only achieve more, if we work together as partners. And I'm happy to report in this house that Dr. Kalist has been this person, this steer, that has brought and appreciated the work of civil society organizations in terms of environment, in terms of water and natural resources management. And this is what we call for as the continuous cooperation. And Doctor, where we are standing and speaking from, we agreed that in this global governments should be brought on board into the discussions, so that when we go to present our position papers are informed by local information generated from technical people that are working in local governments. So when we are preparing for those global water meetings, climate change meetings, I think we need to give opportunity to the local governments to be part of this whole process so that we can present what the people think and what are the aspirations. Thank you for the presentation. It has been elaborate, and thanks for the update, especially from the Global Water Conference that you participated in. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackson. The chairperson, Jesse Board, also has a comment to make. Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for the informative presentation. As usual, each time you speak, we learn a lot. From this morning's presentation and yesterday's, we've heard that there is policy contradictions. For instance, especially in the area of agriculture. So that brings me to the question, what are the opportunities in policy review and development and update on how to involve the various stakeholders, especially the ones who utilize them in their operations? That is a critical area that we need to look into. Then another issue that came up is that there are a lot of funding opportunities for climate change through the different windows. However, the requirements are too stiff and difficult to facilitate the NGOs, especially the local NGOs, to access this funding. So in the place where you are sitting, are there opportunities for capacity building and partnering with local level NGOs and CBOs to tap into these resources? Because they are the ones who work with the issues of climate change, and they are able to prepare projects that can support the people on the ground. Thank you so much.
Doctor, are you there? Doctor, back to you.
Yes, I come in chair now. Okay. Chair, if you have invited me, let me first of all really thank Jackson for the comments, and also noting that I think the situation we are in now calls for us to change the way we are doing things. And from where we see the Ministry of Water and Environment, those who have worked with us, you could have seen trying to do things differently, and we give a lot of priority to collaboration, and that's why the Ministry of Water and Environment actually was the key player in the establishment of Uganda Water and Sanitation NGO network, as well as getting the civil society to collaborate. We also have a network of CSOs in environment and natural resources. So again, we continue strengthening our collaboration and partnerships. I think there is a lot we can do together, not just talk with each other, but also to do things together. And I think we're on the right track. So be assured of our support. With respect to involving the local governments, I entirely agree with you. And that's why, again, we are moving closer to the people within, for example, the framework of the Uganda Water and Environment Week. That's why we decided that we shouldn't have these celebrations at the national level. We should have them at the local level. So we need to engage more. That's why we've also created catchment management structures so that we can hear from people on the ground. But we need to do more. So I hear you very well. Whatever we're planning, and again, I want to call upon all partners, let's join efforts so that we can bring the voices of the local governments, the voices of the people into the discussions properly. So again, the point is well taken, and we try our best to do that. In terms of Grace, you talked about the policy contradictions. One of the things I think which personally I would want to highlight again, to be as open as I can be. The challenge we are having is that we want to sit in our boxes, we are going in our silos. Ministry of Water wants to be in its own box, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Education, and to me that's the challenge. Even when we are doing our work, the policies may not necessarily actually be contradictory, but our practices sometimes don't follow what we are put on paper. When policies are being formulated, all stakeholders or government institutions actually called upon to contribute, and we do contribute, even the laws. But sometimes the practices are different from what is in the policy. So the contradictions are there, and I want to really request that those of us who are not part of government, put us task, point to these contradictions, and let's engage and make sure that we really don't work as if we own Uganda, that whatever we do should actually bind everybody. I really know that a number of things we are not working together. We need to get out of that. We are trying our best, but of course we need to change the mindset. But when we go on the ground, that's where actually we lose colors. At the national level, we say Ministry of Water and Agriculture, but the local level, the people don't care whether you work with the Ministry of Water, all they want is a service. Again, through engagement, let's point this out. Again, earlier it was mentioned that we need evidence. Let's get evidence so that we use the mechanisms we have, again, civil society, other players, so that you point this out and hold us to account. And I think we cannot continue like this. In terms of climate financing, yes, it's not only the civil society struggling. We have had a number of projects funded from climate financing, and has been taking us not less than 2 years to get the money. You actually have to burn candles. And if you are not resilient, you cannot get money. Many people have actually even abandoned. But has been recognized even during the climate negotiations that you cannot just say you have given us money and you make the process very difficult. So it's one of the things to simplify access financing and make sure that the money goes on the ground. Right now in the ministry, we have 2 programs that are piloting how to get climate financing to go to the people directly. We have a program called Life AR and another on LOCAL. Some districts have been selected. We are testing it, as a mechanism where you can make sure that the money goes to the people without making complications. Government has also created climate finance to basically look at how we can access this financing, help build the capacity, and also put in place mechanisms on how we can. We are going to get things done better, and finances are going to reach the local people. And of course, we are also within Water Resources Institute also having trainings on resource mobilization from different angles, including a number of ways, and I think the innovation that have been put in place, and also the pressure we are putting on the international community during negotiations are going to help us move forward. Thank you very much, Chair.
We appreciate so much, Doctor, for that insightful information you have shared with us. And we come to a close of the session where we are having deliberations about the 3 topics this morning. Participants, I'm so grateful for your time and for your cooperation and participation. And we've tried to really manage time because I think we are just 3 or 4 minutes late out of our time frame. I would like to hand over to William, because William is going to tell us the next arrangements from the Secretariat so that we can move on. Otherwise, once again, thanks so much for participating in this. And we have a communique we are going to go through with you, whereby we have captured all the issues, matters arising, suggestions from members, various stakeholders, so that we shall prepare it for final distribution. I hope everyone has registered with their clear addresses, email or otherwise. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Albert, for moderating the session that we started in the morning. And now that we are coming to the end of the session, thank you so much. And also the participants for that live discussion. We thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we are going to have a petition presentation by Join for Water Partners, and I know Chris will take up that. So I take this opportunity to welcome Chris, please, to take us through that. I know it will take a few minutes, and after that, we shall have a climate summit communique, which is actually in its final stage of editing. So I know Chris is doing all that hard to make ready for presentation. So please, Chris, can you take? Okay.
To you all the participants in this summit, my name is Christopher Tsime. I'm the Communication, Advocacy and Partnerships Officer for JESE. And I would like, first of all, thank you. I reached some of you via the phone for the invitations. And I'm so grateful that you've honored this invitation to come and be part of this summit. Before me here is a petition by JESE, NRDI, that is the Natural Resources Defense Initiative, KFF, which is the Chaninga Forest Foundation, and Join for Water, which work together in the protection and conservation of water resources. And this petition is going to the Ministry of Water and Environment, Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources, and the district local governments of Kamwenge, Ntoroko, Kitagwenda, and Fort Poto. And it reads, I will read verbatim, and then later I can share copies, but this is what it reads, the preamble. This petition is presented by Joint Effort to Save the Environment, Natural Resources Defense Initiative, Chaninga Forest Foundation, and Join for Water. The first 3 are NGOs located and operating in Toro and Rwenzori subregions, with a major focus on environmental protection through restoration, conservation of degraded ecosystems. On the other hand, Join for Water is an international NGO that is partly funds the operations of JESE, NRDI, and KFF. In this regard, that we take this honor and privilege to present to you this petition, which outlines the key problems in the bid to protect and conserve water resources, and our own proposals on what the Ministry of Water and Environment, the Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources, and the district local governments of Kamwenge, Kitagwenda, and Toroka and Fort Portal Tourism City need to address the environmental issues as matter of national importance. Now, natural resources, both renewable and non-renewable resources, and ecosystem services are part of real wealth of nations. Uganda's national resource base is among the richest in Africa and fetches the country billions of shillings per year, in addition to the employment opportunities provided by this sector and a livelihood source for poorer communities. As such, environmental resources, if used properly, can contribute to Uganda's national development, and owing to this fundamental importance of natural resources, they must be managed sustainably. As part of efforts to ensure proper and effective management of Uganda's environmental and natural resources, several policies and institutions have been put in place. But despite these efforts, rivers and wetlands in Kamwenge, Kabarole, Kitagwenda, Fort Portal, and in Toroko continue to be degraded, and this jeopardizes both the individual development and the region's economic development. It should be remembered that people's livelihoods in Toro sub-region and the country at large are directly linked to sound natural resources management. It's therefore essential that the Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources, the Ministry of Water and Environment, and the district local governments in Kabarole, Kamwenge, Kitagwenda, and Toroka and Fort Portal Tourism City play their roles to ensure that natural resources management is at the center of good governance and economic development. The issues: there is immense encroachment on Toro sub-region's remaining wetlands due to inadequate enforcement of wetland regulations, failure to take a regional and nationwide inventory of wetlands, and gazettement of the available wetlands by the Ministry of Water in partnership with the respective local governments where they are found. Okay, wetlands, first of all, act as holding areas for large quantities of surface water, which can be slowly released into the watershed. Destroying wetland area equivalent to 1 acre or about a foot deep means destroying its equivalent capacity to absorb 330,000 gallons of water, which will directly run into the watershed as stormwater causing flooding. Destroying of wetlands has resulted in flooding in almost all the regions of this country, causing loss of lives, property, infrastructure, and triggered a decline in wildlife population. Additionally, pollutants running off from agricultural fields and other human activities are seriously decreasing the quality and quantity of water in rivers in Toro sub-region and the country at large. One of the tested and trusted methods of protecting water resources is through the use of buffer zones. Unfortunately, there is inadequate enforcement of laws and regulations aimed at protecting buffer zones, even when protection of fresh water resources is embedded in a broad set of policy and legislative documents. For instance, under the National Environment Act 2019, rivers, wetlands, and lakes are required to have a buffer zone where human activities are strictly limited. But we still see some dangerous human activities which are against this. So despite our efforts as NGOs that are involved in the protection and conservation of water resources, there is still intensive livestock around wetlands and rivers, and sustainable agriculture on steep slopes, and sand/gravel mining, among others, which have led to destruction of rivers and wetlands in Toro sub-region. A case in point is of River Mpanga in Kamwenge, where the buffer zone has been partly turned into farmland, and at other points there are eucalyptus trees planted within the buffer zone, yet the tree species are known to have a high consumption of water. Additionally, some spots along the buffer, like at the border of Chenzozo and Kamwenge, have been turned into washing bays, and which is causing serious contamination of water, even when this is risky to aquatic life and poses health risks to communities around it. In Intoroko, there is still high degradation of River Semliki buffer zone by cattle keepers who graze up to the river. Nyabukara wetland in Fort Portal Tourism City and Nyakasura wetland in Kabarole district are prone to seasonal burning to turn them into agricultural land, cattle farms, and eucalyptus plantations. These wetlands have shrunk by 56% since 1992, and the threat is increasing due to population pressure. The source to this is the Nile Basin 2020 report. So, which, with their capacity not only to sequester carbon, but also a catchment for water that would otherwise flood the entire tourism city, causing healthy, environmental, and economic hazards. So, we have the following demands that we are making to the people we have petitioned in the above. The Ministry of Water, through the local governments and city structures countrywide, urgently need to consider conducting an inventory on wetlands in their respective areas and develop sustainable utilization and management plans, in addition to prioritizing gazetting wetland environment committees at sub-county, parish, and village levels, since the National Environment Act 2019, as amended, does not consider these anymore. The Ministry of Water and Environment should work with the district and other relevant bodies to build capacities of district and sub-county environment committees on their roles and responsibilities on buffer zone protection based on the existing legal and policy frameworks. The Ministry of Water and Environment should enhance stakeholder coordination on buffer zone protection, especially on transboundary resources like River Mpanga. Like I have said before, River Mpanga may be going through a number of districts. You may find there is an intervention in Kamwenge and there is no intervention in Fort Portal, for example. So this is what we are calling upon the Ministry of Water to take into consideration and ensure coordination of all these stakeholders. The Ministry of Water and Environment again should, the Parliamentary Committee on Environment and Natural Resources should do its monitoring role to ensure strengthened enforcement of laws and regulations on environmental protection, but also specifically on buffer zone protection. The Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources should ensure increased budget allocation to the environment and natural resources sector from the current 1% per annum to at least 5%. We believe that by undertaking action now, we can build a more sustainable future for ourselves and for the future generations. We urge all those in positions of power and influence to prioritize environmental protection and conservation and work together to create a healthier and more sustainable planet. And they are the undersigned who are deeply concerned about the state of our environment and the urgent need to protect and conserve it for future generations. That is the end of our petition, which we shall be sharing to probably all of you and the stakeholders that we've talked about and decision makers. I thank you very much for listening. For God and my country.
Thank you, Christopher, for that petition. I know there will be copies that Chris will be circulating around, so feel free to have a copy of this petition. And I know further consultations are going to be made on this petition. At this very point, we are going to have a short entertainment from young conservationists who are coming here to really give us a break. Okay, I see a hand. So before that, we can hear from Doctor, I think on the submission by Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's just on the petition. I want to really thank the different organizations that have come up with the petition. But yet still, I think let us also acknowledge what has been done by government. The issue could be scaling up, but we are not starting from zero. In terms of structures that have been formed, I think it would be very prudent, first of all, to acknowledge government's effort, but also maybe act as a pressure tank to scale up some of these initiatives being done by government, as well as also increasing the financing to the ministry. So, we agree with most of the issues that have been raised, but let us also acknowledge what has been done so that we acts as a stepping stone for concretization. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. We know sometimes a petition is not discussed, but we had to give a special opportunity for Doctor to add on what Chris had presented. So we welcome the young, Conservation Club. Give us, is it a song? Okay, please, go ahead.
Continue working in the service. I've never seen a summit so beautiful like this. I've never seen a summit so beautiful like this. Oh, continue working in the service. Continue working in the service. I've never seen a group so beautiful like this. I've never seen a group so beautiful like this. Oh, continue working in the service. Continue working in the service. I've never seen justice so beautiful like this. I've never seen justice so beautiful like this. Oh, continue working in the service. Continue working in the service. I've never seen a summit so beautiful like this. I've never seen a summit so beautiful like this. Oh, continue working in the service. Continue working in the service. I've never seen a summit so beautiful like this. I've never seen a summit so beautiful like this. Oh, continue working in the service. Continue working in the service. I've never seen a group so beautiful like this. I've never seen a group so beautiful like this. Oh, continue working in the service. Continue working in the service. I've never seen a summit so beautiful like this. I've never seen a summit so beautiful like continue working in the service. Continue working in the service. I would like to thank you for this opportunity, but I would like, if you will, to stand up. First, stand up. We are going to spell Jesse and celebrating the 30 years using our heads. I'll be spelling for you, you use your head. J E S E 30. We can clap our hands.
Thank you, our young conservationists for the future. Thank you for that entertainment. As we close nearer to our end of our today's agenda, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize once again our partners who are with us since yesterday and today. I would like to appreciate IDP, represented by the country representative. Please, would you wave for us? Is here? Yes. Brooklyn Darren, BD, also represented by the country representative. Thank you. Forest of the World. Okay. Wildhunger Hilfe. Oh, thank you for joining us. Care International in Uganda, represented by Jordan, you're welcome. Oxfam, you're welcome. Join for Water, or represented by George, thank you for being with us. Smavi, oh, thank you for being with us. ISSD, Integrated Sector, Seed Sector Development, I think. Okay, not here. Okay, Ministry of Water. Ministry of Water, thank you. Office of the Prime Minister, OPM. Okay, maybe they will also be here. Local level government, local governments represented by district, LOC5s, RDCs, and COWs. Kamwenge, thank you. Kienjocho, local government, thank you. Kiegegwa, district local government, thank you. Bunyangabu, district local government. Okay. Bundibucho, Ntoroko, Agago, district local government. They were here, I think, yesterday. Now they may have traveled. Bulisa, Chegegwa, district local government. Chegegwa, oh, that's Kasese, Kabarole, district local government. Thank you for being with us. Kitagwenda, district local government. Thank you. Fort Poto City. Fort Poto City. Dr. Stanley was here in the morning. Thank you. On the other note, we also want to recognize our other partners, KFF, Kianinga, oh, thank you. NRDI, we are working with these people. We also acknowledge your presence here. KRC, oh, thank you. COSIL was here yesterday. I don't know if the representative is still here. Thank you, in absentia. UBA Bank. Okay, they were here yesterday. KCB Bank. KCB. I saw them in the morning. They could have departed. SECO. Oh, thank you. Red Cross. We have moved with Red Cross, I think, for really so long. They have been part of the celebration since they started up to now. Thank you as well. Hewasa Caritas for Poto. Oh, thank you. Mountain of the Moon University. Oh, thank you. Waseo, represented by Grace. Mary. Oh, thank you for being with us. Isinjiro District Local Government. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, members. At this point, I would like to introduce Chris, who is going to take us through the next item on our agenda. That's the Climate Summit Communique. Please, Chris, take over.
Thank you very much, William. And good afternoon to all of you, dear delegates and participants of the first Fort Poto Climate Summit. You're not responding. Is it because it is lunchtime. So allow me to quickly read through what the Secretariat has prepared. And at this point in time, draft communique from the 1.5 days that we've been here. And at the end of it, we can be advised what to remove and what to add. I will read it as it is. The final communique of the first Fort Portal Climate Summit 2023 on the theme, Localizing the Global Climate and Environmental Agenda, held at Carrier Courts, Fort Portal City, on the 18th to the 19th of May, 2023. The preamble. The first Fort Portal Climate Summit was organized as an event to commemorate the 30 years anniversary of joint effort to save the environment, a non-governmental organization operating in Uganda. The summit was attended by government, development partners, civil society organizations drawn from across the country, women, men, and youth, and children from primary schools around Fort Portal City. The summit was a hybrid in nature, with participants both online and in physical attendance. On record, over 1,000 participants attended this summit. Well aware of the rampaging and catastrophic impacts of the climate change, such as flooding, prolonged droughts, food insecurity, and likely threats on humankind and infrastructure and environment, while the global effects of climate change are affecting us all, some communities have and continue to suffer more than others. Paradoxically and painfully so, these climate injustices have been imposed by the developed countries that continue to set stringent conditions on accessing climate financing. It's the people in low developing countries in Africa and Uganda in particular who have contributed very little to global warming that are suffering the most. That the risks posed by climate change to the people and ecosystems are not limited to aggravating existing economic, environmental, geopolitical, health, societal threats, but they are equally generating new ones. These risks increase disproportionately as the temperatures increase. Thus, many systems are already at risk from climate change. Recognizing the high poverty levels in Uganda and high population growth rates at 3% per annum, natural resources across the country remain at risk of being depleted at a supersonic speed. Recognizing that Uganda has many good policies and laws, some of these policies, particularly in the agricultural sector, contradict globally acceptable and eco-friendly practices like agroecology and organic agriculture that seek to promote climate resilience. It was argued at the summit that responding to these climate challenges will require deploying the full breadth of human talent and innovations. In this regard, therefore, creative policy interventions and novel eco-technological solutions need to be fostered and applied across government, universities, and at civil society organization levels. This will require a sustained commitment and providing resources into research, green development, promotion of ecopreneurship, education, and good management of public resources. That to safeguard the legitimacy of our ecosystems and the services they provide requires collective action to be taken now by governments, the private sector players, individuals, businesses, local communities, and public institutions to tackle the global challenge. Deliver required cuts in emissions and take maximum advantage of the available opportunities and additional benefits. Therefore, the first Fort Portal Climate Summit agreed as follows. This summit made an urgent call to the government of Uganda to localize COP decisions and simplifying them for local level implementation and action. The summit further made an urgent call to the international actors to ease the conditions on climate financing and carbon credit. The summit made an urgent call to the government of Uganda to involve local governments in the development of proposals to NDCs before they are submitted to the UN. The summit called on the government of Uganda to fast-track the concerns of her citizens on loss and damage and climate financing that can be used to support local initiatives on climate adaptation and mitigation. The summit called upon the government of Uganda to support the green economy initiatives and prototypes by giving subsidies and incentives to green development models being developed at the local levels. The summit appealed to the government of Uganda to urgently boost investment in research, data management infrastructure, and local personnel training to collect, retrieve, interpret, and use climate data for decision-making and local actions. The summit further appealed for the urgent need for mass mobilization of Ugandans to adopt climate-smart interventions at the local and household levels. The summit made an urgent call for the regulation of harmful agrochemicals that are currently on the Ugandan market. The summit appealed for behavioral change in regard to environmental protection and adoption of climate-smart lifestyles among Ugandans. The summit called upon the government of Uganda, civil society, and the private sector to tap into indigenous knowledge as one way to contribute to adaptation and mitigation efforts on climate change. The summit called upon the government of Uganda and all the local governments to strictly enforce the existing laws and ordinances on environmental protection. The summit appealed for the development of prototypes on adaptation and mitigation to climate change effects. The summit further appealed to the government of Uganda to resolve policy contradictions in the agricultural sector and the environment sector. Last but not least, the summit appreciated the urgent need to generate agricultural business models that can spark off economic opportunities and attractive to the young generation. Finally, participants at the summit agreed to convene the Fourth Portal Climate Summit each year to continue deliberating on climate change and possible solutions. Thank you very much. That's the end of it. I hope it has picked up all the points. If not, we can pick up more. And then after this will be published online and the different platforms. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for that. And I don't think on this item there is a lot. Do we still allow discussion or? Oh, okay. Any input or any suggestion in terms of what Chris has presented as outputs of this summit? Okay, maybe we shall few hands. 1, 2.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris. You've covered all the highlights, but I see this gender and equity, and then the role of the learners, categories of stakeholders. But important now is the learners who are still young. They told us that so I think that's a message in itself that we need to cut ones if we need to cause lasting change. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Then we had one also from here.
Thank you so much. I just wish to clarify one resolution. The business models were very specific, agroecological business models. We already have so many agricultural models, agricultural development models, but for this conference, we are very specific, making that economic sense for agroecology and agroecologically produced foods. Those are the models we talk about.
Hope, Chris, you're picking? Okay. Any other members? Okay.
Thank you very much. Maybe one thing that also needs to come out clear is on the increased partnership with the local universities to improve evidence-based research at the local level. Something that came out yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Collaboration with local universities is important for us in this community.
Thank you very much. My concern is with trials that are started and then they are abandoned. We are talking about agrochemicals, which are dangerous. We started with biogas, and one of the byproducts of biogas is celery being used as a pesticide and at the same time as manure. But it started a long time ago, it stopped. It started second time, it stopped. We became so active and we brought it here and people were trained. We developed 250 and that was the end of it, 250 plants. And that was the end of the story. Then another thing is the laws that are put in place are not implemented because the politicians are coming in. Is there a way we can advocate for the return of extension workers, right from the grassroots up to the district level?
Thank you, members. I think we shall need to stop this from here because we see time is moving so fast. At this point, we shall almost go to our closing speeches. And first, I will welcome a speech from the founder members of JESE. And they will be presented by Mr. Mubiru Vincent. Hope, yes, he's around. He will take up that session, and I know he has prepared a lot. And please, we welcome you to take up this. Thank you.
Good afternoon, participants. I'm of the name Mubiru Vincent. I'm one of the founder members of JESE. At this juncture, allow me to welcome you all to this summit, and also allow me to introduce the founder members again so that you can know them. I start with Mr. Patrick Baguma. You can stand up for recognition. Mr. Magesi Charles. And Mubiru Vincent. I'm going to give you a very brief history, so that you know where we have come from. We are three because we were selected from a workshop which we were attending. It was a change agent training organized by FORAD some years back. So the coordinator of foreign received a letter from Africa Southern Network, UNDP, inviting 3 participants from the region. So lucky enough, we are selected to the participants to attend a workshop in Hoima. The workshop was on community mobilization for group action. We went and attended. It was organized by Africa Southern Network. And what we trained were 3 main areas. 1 was community mobilization, 2, organic farming, and 3, energy conservation. So from the workshop, we came back. But at the end of the workshop, we were told to make an action plan which can enable us to start to implement as a team, to work together. So when we came back, we first relaxed. But at the end, we received the communication from Mary that she was coming to visit us. By then, we had not done anything. So Mary, when we knew that Mary was coming, we started panicking. We thought of getting an operational area. We went to, those who know Fort Portal, to Biafra. We selected the 3 operational areas, Biafra, Chitembe, and Katoke. These were just in town, in Tisenyi. So we went, mobilized the LOC ones to talk to the LOC ones to get us participants. We made the program, but no one came for the training. We organized 3 trainings, but none came from those 3 villages. So when we were there seated, waiting, someone who was just drunk came and said, you people, you are all waiting for people to come and teach them how to dig. This is the town. Go to the villages where the people are. So it was an eye-opener. We decided now to think of another operational area. So we selected these two sub-counties. Bukuku, it's about 10 kilometers from here, and Mugusu, 10 kilometers from here. So that's where we started. But so when Mary came, we didn't have an office. Patty was a very wise man. He talked to one of his friends. He gave us a room. Just one room. It was a bedroom. Okay. A room. It has a chair separated by a curtain. So that it became our office. So when Mary came around, said, this is our office. We had put there 2 chairs and 2 chairs. And then on the curtain, we had got some EC materials, charts, put them on the curtains to cover the curtains. So that was our first office. When Mary came, we told her about the challenges. In fact, allow me to introduce Madame Mary, because I'm talking about Mary, you don't know her. The coordinator, national coordinator of Africa to Southern Network. So we told her about the challenges, but she advised us, say, your team, start small, go to the villages where people are, be focused, be accountable, and be result-oriented. Those were the words. So we decided now when she had gone to go to the operation area which we had selected, which was Bukuku and Mogoso. Now, what does that mean? It meant we're supposed to get transport from here to Mogoso, 10 kilometers. Then again in the village, between 4 to 10 kilometers or so inside. So we could get money from some other places. By then, Patrick was a member of Chibukuru Development Agency. He could get some money from there. Magezi was a member of Chamoka Barefoot Partners in Development. So he could also get facilitation from there. And by then, I was a teacher, an agriculture teacher of Chebambe Girls School. So we got support from there, and we started moving. So we could use our own money to get a taxi, reach where you are supposed to go, then walk. So when Mary came, Madame Mary Jo, she was impressed when she visited us. She told us that please write a proposal, which we wrote, and good enough. I don't know whether it is, by then it wasn't good, but let me say good enough. She only gave us money for the training materials only and 2 bicycles. Training materials. So it was a challenge because, okay, we could use our bicycles, ride to the operation area. But of course, when you train someone without giving him anything, some people did not implement, did not perform. So when we knew that Mary was again coming for the second visit, me, Patrick, at times we could go and work with the farmers to create results. So when she came the second time, she visited the farmers and she had a notebook. She could move the notebook, she talks to each farmer. What is the problem? What is this? Then you notice. Then at the end in the meeting, say, please now, I'm going to give 20 farming inputs. So we wrote a second proposal, funded by UNDP African Study Network. We received the the farm inputs. Which inputs? Hose, wheelbarrows, spades, and what? Yeah, and the pump. We were again expected to create results, but by giving a hoe to the farmer did not mean that this farmer is going to implement. So we developed a criteria for selecting these farmers. And one of the criteria was someone must have a double-dagger bed. I don't know whether I still remember those double-dagger beds. Someone must be having some final juice. So that's what happened, and we used that criteria. Those who had implemented some of those were selected and given the farm inputs. So those ones were again supported to become our model farmers. So at the end, we created over 10 model farmers in those 2 counties where we are working. Then later, Madame Mary Jo was very clever again because she knew the importance of capacity building. She trained us. For me, I attended over 20 workshops on organic farming, dry farming, sustainable agriculture. Patrick, my colleague, so many. We went to many times to Kenya, Tanzania, West Africa, Cameroon, Burkina Faso, even Cuba, South America, for training. And now, after training us, she started referring those groups, CBOs, which used to go to UNDP for training. She referred them to us. So we became now trainers of trainers. Now, our operation area expanded because all those trainings, they were in different areas, started going to different areas to train the groups. Now, what is interesting is because of the accountability elements which she trained us, we started saving. That land where it just stands is the land which we bought. From the savings and the first structure, which had 4 rooms before it was expanded, it was money from our savings. But though we had the challenges when we go to the village, no allowance, no accommodation. At one time we decided to carry food in the flasks. Just about us, we said to buy bags and put on the back and walk to the village with our food. Then we were being accommodated by the farmers themselves. So that's the history about justice. To appreciate the founder members for the contribution. also want to appreciate the past and the present board members. We have our first board chairperson, Mr. Makulu. Monsenor Makuluchi is around. You can stand and wave. Kumarachi, yes. Stand and wave to. We have another person, former board chairperson, Madame Jenny Navunya, is also around. We have other board members, Madame Jenny Kawakama. And that lady is very strong because we used to work with her and Madame Bamoro. The two go to the field as a volunteer to support Jesse. Thank you very much, Madam. I want to recognize Mr. Charles Walaga. He was by then a coordinator for Africa Star Network when they opened an office here. He was very instrumental in supporting Jesse. There are others, the present body members. We have Madame Grace. You can possibly stand. I think the board members. Hey, yes, Mr. Albert, he can also stand for recognition. I also want to appreciate the Jesse donors. We have had a number of donors. We started with a proposal of 5 million. Now it has gone, we're in millions and billions of money. Donors present, thank you very much for supporting and loving Jesse. I also want to thank the community members, because if they were not the members, Jesse would not have reached where we have reached. I also want to support the staff of Jesse. Thank you very much. Now, all the partners, it is because of the partners that Jesse learned strategic planning, because Madame Mary Jo referred us to, connected us to Denver. And all the strategic planning approaches, everything we learned it from Denver. And there are so many others, certainly, Sane, Ibo. So thank you very much. With those few words, I think I just allow me to request Madame Jo to just say a word because she's the mother of Jesse. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to say a word or two. You know, when I was told that Jesse is going to celebrate 30 years, I couldn't, to be honest with you, I couldn't believe it. Because I couldn't remember the history when it started and all that. But I said, I'm going to go there. And when I came here, they told me the story. All these issues that I couldn't remember, they reminded me. And to be honest with you, I'm very humbled. You know, we supported many organizations that turned up, that we nurtured. I think that's the right word, to become NGOs. And for them, they don't appreciate what we did. They say, oh, you know, they gave us 5 million shillings. You know, they think it was very little. Okay, yes, maybe it was little, but it was the beginning. You cannot take a lot of money and give it to ideas. You have to give the money to people who are demonstrating that they are doing something. That is actually one of the challenges that we had, because we were working all over the country, but many of the people where you went, they didn't even have anything on the ground. You would see that they are pretending to be doing something when they are doing nothing. And you can easily tell that. So we started off by giving the organizations very little money, because we also were very conscious about the need to have results. But I want to thank Jesse. Thank you very much, the founding members, for being serious about what you did. Thank you very much. I promise, you know, I had not been in touch with Jesse for very many years. I don't even know where they got my phone contacts from. But I promise that I'm going to keep in touch with Jesse. You said I'm the mother of Jesse, isn't it? Because a mother has to be there for the children that she gave birth to. So Jesse, let's remain in touch. Let's do whatever we can together. I look forward to more interaction in future. And I want to thank the current donors of Jesse, because it is something that, you know, the organization is doing well because of the donations from the current donors. So thank you very much, the current donors. I will continue to interact with Jesse, as I've said, and I look forward to interacting with the donors too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mama Jesse, for that elaborate presentation. Before we invite the current chairperson for the closing remarks, I would also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of Pelham. Pelham, yes, and thank you, Madam Josephine. At this point, I take the opportunity to invite the current board chairman for the closing remarks. Please, the current chairperson for the closing remarks. Thank you. Thank you.
The Lord is good. And all the time. Praise the Lord. Thus far the Lord has brought us as Jesse. I dare not go through the protocol because many faces have come. Some left, so I don't want to acknowledge those who are not here, but in your respective capacities, we want to thank you so much for making the time to be with us for 2 days in this powerful summit, the first of its kind, we are told. It has been very, very informative for each one of us, at least for me. So participants, whoever benefited, please let's clap. I've noticed some people didn't clap, that means they didn't learn. Sorry for you. And I'm told that as human beings, to remain alive, we have to take time to learn. If you don't learn, then you start dying. So, at least I've learned a lot. I could have earned a certificate because the body of knowledge with which I'm going is a lot. We were told from the beginning that climate change actions to mitigate the effects to become resilient communities starts at individual level, then at family, community, institution. We cannot point fingers. So it's a challenge upon each one of us to play our role. We were also told that as a country, our main priority is adaptation. Because of, as compared to other interventions, adaptation is the best mechanism for us. And we have been informed and given opportunities of learning the different methods of adaptation. I believe that when we go back and implement what we've learned, we shall be more resilient. Another area that, excuse me, another issue that we learned Another issue that we have learned is that for us to be able to handle this issue of climate change, we need to work in partnerships and collaboration, because we have different capacities and different connections. And therefore, with that, there is need for capacity building to be able to identify opportunities for partnership, but also to be effective. Another key lesson that we have picked is that we need to get involved in policy making, policy review, and of course also for us to be able to participate effectively in that process, there is need for capacity building. Another key lesson for us, which we also implement, we ensure that we push for as the board, is the importance of research to generate evidence, and research that is context specific in the various ecological zones that we have in this nation and the region. And of course, to remain relevant, we also need to be innovative. And that calls for the need to partner with various stakeholders, especially universities. We need to foster deliberate partnerships with universities because they are good, they have cutting-edge knowledge, and they have the resources to keep learning and simplify issues for us. And of course, we are all told and encouraged to promote organic inputs, fertilizers, manure, and fight GMOs. And the game is on for each of us to use the respective spaces we are in, the various opportunities to ensure that we promote and conserve the local and indigenous technologies and knowledge. So what does that mean? As the board, since our interventions is a strategic level, we commit to push the JSE staff, especially the management, to ensure that these lessons, in addition to the communique, are implemented and operationalized in JSE in the next, I don't know how many years, so that when we invite people to come and celebrate with us 60 years or 75 years, whatever, they'll see indeed a changed JSE. And for that matter, I just want to take this opportunity to once again introduce the board members, present and past. Stand up, please. In my capacity as a board member, I want you to stand up. So these are the brains behind the strategic level discussions that take place and have facilitated the continuous growth of JSE. Thank you so much. I think we'll take a group photo at some point. Then I also want now to invite the engine that has made this possible. That is all JSE staff. Please appear wherever you are. I want to see you, the people who have been working. As they come, let's clap for them. JSE staff, please stand up. We appreciate your efforts. We appreciate the times that you've not slept We appreciate the, what do we do? Can we call them to come up here? Or there are too many, they'll fill up the place. They stand and wave. Cameras, please point, point, point. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the great work. We know that you've contributed individually, team, as a team. We thank you for we thank the communities that have allowed our teams to be there. We've been informed that they've been able to come accommodate some of you to sleep in their houses. That's a big risk, but they did that. Whoever is going to speak to the communities, we need to tell them that we appreciate. With those many words, let us clap for the donors, Vanange, because donors are the lifeline of our work, isn't it? Donors, oh yeah? You have different names, development partners, I don't know, but you're the lifeline. We appreciate. And we pledge that as the board, we'll ensure that the systems, the structures deliver value for money. And we say, because we know that you also get money from your respective parliaments, we appreciate the good thing. You've seen the evidence, and we are willing to continuously learn. With those many words, I want to wish us God's blessings, journey mercies when you go back, and increase really, because we are all going to implement all these new ideas. Can I stop here? Yeah, let me say the last thing. My name again is Grace Wako Katuramu. I'm a consultant in the water and sanitation sector and institutional and organization development area. Yes, God bless you once again. And enjoy whatever food is there. I see masala there. I don't know who is going to eat it. But when it comes, let's enjoy it. God bless you. In Rotary, we have a short song that says, he's a jolly good fellow, because we are all good fellows here. Can we sing for one another? And point. I don't have the voice, but they are jolly good fellows, they are jolly good fellows, they are jolly